Welcome. Thank you for joining the Pat Sheranian program today. My guest is Lawrence Law. Hello.
Hello, Pat. How you doing?
Glad to have you back with me. And thank you for joining us on KHQN 1480 AM and also on pat.utahvalleylive.com. We appreciate your time and hope that we give you interesting information today. Lawrence has been talking about a subject that affects us all, and we're going to get into that today. So first, I want to thank our sponsor, Kyani, Kyani. The products have been wonderful for me for the past 14 months. I've improved my health and overcome diabetes, high blood pressure, high cholesterol, and arthritis, and I'm grateful for that. And also, just have a question. No, that's not the right question. Okay, let's do this one. Are you an athlete looking for an extra boost to your workouts? Your answer is Kyani, NitroFX. NitroFX dilates the arteries so more blood, oxygen, and nutrients can travel from the heart to the rest of your body. Taking a few drops of Kyani NitroFX every day improves energy and defends, repairs, and maintains nearly every cell in the body. Boost your performance. Try Kyani NitroFX today. Call 801-362-9552. 801-362-9552 if you care to know more about it or have a comment to make. We'd certainly like that. Also today on streaming video live on pat.utahvalleylive.com, you can chat with us in our chat room, ask questions if you'd like to, or make comments. We'd like to have that. Thank you again for joining us. Well, what's happening out there in our world of finance, or do I dare ask, after the other day? I mean, I watched the debates and I thought, what the world is going on? You know, are we in a better place or worse place than we were? And so tell me what's happening to all of these people that are out of work and struggling with their credit and struggling with their finances, and where in the world do we go from here? And what are some of the strategies? What are the really best strategies to get out of the mess that we are in? What can we use to repair our credit?
Well, you've asked a bunch of questions there.
Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. Pick the one you like best.
Where are people going when they're out of work? Hopefully, they can find a job, because if you're not, that just means that your credit's going down, and it's causing a lot of extra stress because you're paying extra money from higher interest rates, higher insurance rates. Everything else is just causing a huge amount of extra cost. We've actually calculated that cost to be about $12.50 an hour when you have really bad credit. Of course, that's based on the fact that you have the same loans as somebody who can actually afford to pay for them. So what you're dealing with here is you're not going to have quite that expense, but you have to understand that your costs are all going to be higher. If you do get a mortgage loan, it's going to have a higher interest rate. If you do get an auto loan, it's going to have a higher interest rate. If you get insurance on both of those, it's going to be higher.
There's no break anywhere.
There really isn't, not until you get your credit scores up to where they can actually be of benefit to you. And that's a 740 credit score for interest rates and a 760 credit score for insurance rates. So it makes a huge difference in getting your credit scores up. It's worth every penny to make that effort.
What if you just don't have a job and you're just constantly scrambling to make a payment every single month on everything, and now you're in debt, and where does one go? I went to you. Should they come to you? And I dumped it all on your desk.
Well, now, Pat, you had a job, so
I did.
The first thing that you have to do is, of course, get a job, find some way to make some income. That's the number one challenge that people without a job have to do. And there's lots of avenues to do that. What we do is we can help people once they have income, but they might have a lot of debt, or they might have bad credit, and they're trying to restore that so that they can lower the costs and move forward. That's where we come into play here.
One of the things I've tried to do, because you advised it, was to reduce my loan balances below 80%, I think you said.
Correct.
And so I work on that a little bit over time, and I've been fairly successful with it. I find that everybody in the business, they know we're all in trouble, or the majority of us, middle class, they're in trouble a little bit somewhere, with the car, with the house, with something.
Right.
And so let's talk about that a little bit, how to reduce the installment balance.
Okay, well, there are two main things that really help to improve credit scores, and that is that if you can lower installment loan balances below 80% and lower revolving account balances below 45%. Now we need to define that. What is an installment loan? I mean, a
Yeah,
lot
I
of
was
people
going to
ask.
say, yeah, what is it? Hello, I know what it is. You tell them.
But that is an installment loan is anything that has a determined number of payments, and once you've got that paid off, it's the account is closed and it's gone.
So 48 months to pay off a car, for
Okay,
instance.
so an
Okay.
auto loan has a limited number of payments, and once that's paid off, the car is finally yours, and you get to drive it around knowing that it's completely yours. A mortgage loan is another installment loan. Personal loans can be installment or revolving, depending upon the type of loan that it is. Student loans are typically installment loans.
Okay.
So then you get set number of payments, and by the time you're finished, then it's all done. A revolving it
Is a credit card. I
does just
recognize that sound. Revolving? Oh, it wasn't a door? No, it's my credit
that's
cards. They empty and they fill up. Who's doing that?
and you have to recognize, Pat, that it is you doing that. So
I have no one to blame.
okay. So again, revolving is where you pay it down and you can apply for more to buy more things, and that of course puts the balance higher up again. And it's a revolving or an up and down balance effect.
And the interest gets hideous.
Well, the interest gets hideous if you don't pay your bills on time or your credit scores have lowered for some reason. Not necessarily your fault, because there's lots of different ways that your credit scores can be impacted and actually lower the credit score, which increases credit rates. What happens there is that the credit card company will actually do a soft pull on your credit, find out that you have lowered your credit scores, and then they'll make a determination that you're high risk, and so therefore they're going to add more insurance or interest rate on your account.
Rude.
Well,
Really, really rude. I'm speaking with Lawrence Law today, and his company is Vantage Credit Alliance, credit repair by attorneys, which is really different. So we ought to mention that again. And which phone number are we giving out for you?
it is the 801-769-9443.
769 9443. That
Yes.
one? Okay, good. And so call. If you're in a mess, even a little mess, call and he can help you work through it. And then talk a little bit about your attorneys, because I know every television program at the end or the beginning, particularly during the evening, there's somebody that's going to help you with your credit, and I don't believe that for a minute. And I have known Lawrence long enough that I trust him. He's local. We can hurt him if it doesn't work out. I can go find him. But so far, it's been absolutely wonderful. And the people I work with, they're in Florida, the attorneys, and they're absolutely marvelous. They've been wonderful to me in every way. So talk about the difference between an attorney and somebody that doesn't know what they're doing.
Well, when you're talking about working with the credit bureaus, you have to understand that they are there to make money. And so they collect data all about you and put it in your credit file. And we have found that the more negative that they collect, the more happier they are because they make more money. Uh,
So whoa, what? They're supposed to be helping.
well, don't count on it. Basically, what's happening here is they are collecting data. And if there's a lot of negative on there, you're going to be more concerned about that because that's costing you money. And so you'll go out and you'll pull a credit report which costs you money. You might want your credit scores, and that will cost you money. You go apply for a loan, and they'll need to pull the credit report. That'll cost them money. And if you don't get approved for that item that you're trying to apply for, you'll go back and pull your credit report again, which is costing you money. And then as you go through the credit repair process, you're going to pull your credit on a regular basis. That's going to cost you money. Pulling your credit score again is going to cost you money. And it just compounds. And so they've found out that the more that people have negative on their credit report, the more times they pull their credit report, the more times that they make money off of those pulls. And so they're in the business of making money, and they've got to satisfy their stockholders. And so they create a situation where they're going to make more
So
money.
they're saying to me, pull your credit report.
Absolutely.
And I
How
said,
many
why don't
times have
you
you
pull my
heard?
credit report? You pull it. You pay for it. So they're working together,
Well, it seems to be, doesn't it?
and to our detriment.
So anyway, the attorneys that we use are have 24 years of credit law experience, which is very, very important. You found that we found that attorneys have specialized much more recently, and so the attorneys who specialize in family law, or they specialize in corporate law, or some kind of specialty, are very, very good at what they do, but they're not very good at other things that people ask them to do, because they just don't have the schooling, the knowledge, the focus on that as those who have. And so our attorneys who have focused on credit law experience, um, definitely
That's your specialty.
that's their
It's
specialty.
not
That's all they
family law.
do.
It's not corporate law. It's debt.
It's credit law.
Yeah.
And so therefore they know what's going on. They keep abreast of everything that's going on in the industry, and know what exactly the law is, so that they can attack it and work for you in getting those negatives off the credit report. Now, they have a difficult time in doing that, simply because the credit bureaus are very good at blocking them, stalling them, and doing everything else. Imagine how difficult it is for you as an individual if you send in a letter and said, hey, I'd like you to dispute these items. Would you please remove them, because I don't believe that they're correct? And they look at that and they
I've done
send
that.
it.
I've done that.
you, so
We've all
many other
done that.
people
Yeah.
have. You're sure. And they'll send it down to Jamaica, where that's worked on for 7 minutes. And 35 days later, you get back, or 45 days later, you get back a letter that says, we verified this information, and so therefore it's going to stay on your credit report.
And I never lived there, and I never had an account there, wherever there
And you
is.
don't have that balance, and you didn't have that late, and you didn't have all of these different
And I'm
items.
charged to find out that you didn't really do your research or fix anything about it.
Well, right. They want to keep those on there as long as possible because it makes them money.
Okay, so then when we go to an attorney, when we go through
Right.
Vantage Credit, right?
Yes. And our
Vantage
attorneys,
Alliance, I'm going to get it right. Vantage Credit Alliance.
very good.
Oh, good. Okay.
Okay.
Vantage Credit Alliance Credit Repair by Attorneys. There. Okay,
Yes.
now I got it right that time. Okay.
Okay. And so you've got now an attorney, who uses legal letterhead with their signature and disputing all of the negatives on your credit report at one time, which is totally unique in the industry, that goes in and also will use the law to dispute these items and make sure that that the credit bureaus uses the proper legal aspects of verifying that information, to get them removed or to verify them.
So they're real.
So they're real. It's real work now, instead of just, well, somebody said that it's correct, so therefore we're going to keep it on here.
I know it's easy to get to Lawrence. He's here local in our area, and I have on occasion called and said, how about this and this? And he can intercede for me with this company where they know him well and have for how many years?
Oh, 4.5 years now.
4.5 years.
You bet.
And so then we all work together. And I've sent friends to you. And so you be a friend and call Lawrence if you are in trouble with this stuff. Even if you're not, you want to know where you are. This would be a good place to start. And his phone number is,
801.
I'm going to memorize it, 769 9443. 801-769-9443. Where's that? Springville?
It's Spanish Fork.
Spanish Fork.
But
Okay.
we are national, so you need to understand that it's just not local. We can actually help people anywhere in the United States.
So if you're watching us on the internet and you're in Georgia or New York,
Hmm.
then you can help.
Absolutely.
Okay, anyway.
We are such an internet-based society nowadays that everything can be done over the phone, over the internet, by email.
All right.
So it's very convenient.
Okay, so all right, we talked about reducing installment,
Hmm.
trying to get that taken care of, and then raise your credit limit. Now, how do you do
Okay.
that if you've got any problems going on? Hello, I can't quite get this bill paid off and my limit's 2000 and I want it to be to 5.
Not going to happen.
Okay. So then when
Okay.
you say raise your credit limit.
You need to understand that this is to help people improve their credit scores and get the higher credit scores but lower interest rates. This
Wait, what'd you just say? So the higher the credit
s- score,
score,
the lower the interest rate is going to be.
okay,
Yes.
so we want to have a higher limit.
But now we're talking about increasing credit scores, and one of those is if you have a high limit based on your debt to credit limit
Okay.
ratio. This
Okay.
is this is 30% of your credit score, so having this understanding is going to be very helpful. So lowering your banks and other lending institutions have actually said, oh, you've got too much credit, and so therefore you need to lower your limits. And if you will do that, you will notice that your credit scores will drop like a rock.
Why would they advise?
They don't know, they don't understand. And so we need to go teach them what the reality
I
is.
smack them upside their head for
Well,
crying out loud.
they're
That's
shooting themselves in the
well,
foot
they
because
are.
if they have somebody who's trying to, I've heard mortgage lenders say this as well, and it really does hamper them in helping that client get a loan. Because if you raise your credit limits, that lowers your debt to credit limit ratio, which increases your credit scores and lowers your interest rates.
Okay, let's do it.
Okay.
Okay.
Now the process of doing that
I
is
was going to say,
really,
how do you do this now that
yeah.
we,
Okay, the process is this. If you have a decent interest or credit score right now, and this is the
and a
critical
decent
point,
credit score would be
I would say right now you've got to be in the 700s.
okay.
680, maybe. Um, Money is tight right now. Credit is very, very tight. And so, getting into that kind of a situation, you need to understand where your credit scores are first. Because if you go out there and apply for higher interest, excuse me, higher credit limits, they're going to do a credit pull, which is going to cost you an inquiry. You can only have two inquiries on your credit report for each year, excuse me, two a year for 2 years. In other words, four total before it starts costing you a huge amount of credit score again.
Why?
Because
I'm
if you,
curious why. That just doesn't make any sense to
the
me.
philosophy is basically if you don't need credit, then you're going to have higher credit scores. If you do need credit, then you're higher risk and you're going to have lower credit scores. So when you need it, you gotta have it before you need it. It's kind of like insurance. To have when you need good credit is you prepare for it now before you need it, because when you need it, it's too late. Just like insurance. Okay?
Wah.
Yeah.
Wah, wah. Okay. Did we make that clear?
I'm not sure that we did.
You want to go over that one more time? Somehow raising
Okay.
credit limits. Let's just put 1, 2, 3. Kind of.
Okay.
I'll stop talking. No, I won't. Just kind of put it in a more succinct fashion
All
for
right.
us.
When you have the challenge is this: you need to have as high a credit limit as you can comfortably get. Okay, so if you had a good income of say two, four, $6,000 a month, that's quite a spread. But you're going to have higher credit limits on your credit card simply because you could afford to pay it back if you had the if you were actually spending the money on there. But if you have too low of a debt to credit limit ratio, if your limits are too low, then your debt to credit limit ratios are higher if you put anything on your credit card. It has to do with the fact that if you have a balance on your credit card, what is that in relationship to your limit? Because if it's too high, it's going to cost you a lot of points and kick you out of the game of credit completely unless you pay it down. So the example is this. You're looking at me like that. Blank stare. What?
No, I just.
Let me put it to you this way. If you had $500,
You know, I bought a house, I bought cars over the years, I've had credit cards, I've lived within my means. And as I listen to you, I think people have been ripping me off right and left, and I didn't know any better. And
correct.
it's time.
And
And
so
I'm somewhat astounded that I didn't know this before. Now, I'm sure my kids probably did.
it's as simple as this. Let's play it. Let's do it really simple. If you had a $1,000 credit limit on
Okay.
a credit card
Okay.
and you had $500 on that account, you are at 50% debt to credit limit ratio,
Okay.
over the 45% debt to credit limit ratio, which is critical, which means that your credit scores have just dropped, could be as much as 20 points, and kicked you out of the game, which means that if you had tried to apply for another loan, you wouldn't be able to get it. Okay?
Okay.
That's what we mean
Got that.
by kicking you out of the game. You just can't, you
It
can't
doesn't
get any
any
more loans.
doesn't anybody ever tell anybody this? I mean, where's the fine print that nobody reads anyway? But people just open credit cards and open credit cards and open credit cards because they get them in the mail.
If they've got good credit, that's true. But if you don't and you're just on the borderline, then using these tips and strategies will help you increase your credit scores and keep you in the game. Okay, but now this example of 1,000 credit limit with $500 on that. Let's say you raised your credit limits to $10,000 now. Okay,
Okay.
instead of 1,000, it's 10,000. $500 on that $10,000 credit limit is now what? 5%. And so now
Small bit.
you've got a very low debt to credit limit ratio, and you're still in the game. Your the break even or the critical point is 45% debt to credit limit ratio.
Okay. Got it.
So at $500, you're way low,
Right.
which means that you can still play the game. Your credit scores haven't changed at all. You're actually good risk, and you're paying your bills on time. They love you.
But now I take a vacation.
Okay.
I put $6,000 on this card.
Wrong answer. Never, ever, ever go over the 45% debt to credit limit ratio. If you want to put $6,000 on that credit card, you call them up first and raise your credit limits so that you never go over the 45% debt to credit limit ratio. And then you're still in the game. You can still play, you can still do things, you still have the lower interest rates, the higher credit scores.
So the cruise is out. Park
No,
City is
not
in unless I do it that way.
unless you do it that
Unless
way.
you
That's
raise
correct.
your credit limit. Don't put that $6,000 on
Don't
there.
ever go over the 45%. That is a very critical number, and it will cost you a lot of credit score to go over that credit limit.
Another wah. Oh gosh. Okay, did you get that? Good. All right, we got that. And then
Pat, before we go on, if you do have a question about that and would like some counseling on that, our counseling is free. It doesn't cost anything. Just ask the question. We'd be happy to help with that.
you can also today, if you'd like to chat in our chat room and ask that question at pat.utahvalleylive.com. We'll be happy to have that and try and answer a question here. We don't have to know who you are or where you are, but we'll be happy to try and answer that. Okay, so now we got that straightened out about credit limits. How about opening more accounts? Because I did that, and we've all done that, And last week when we were talking, you said never, 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 never have more than one credit card. And
Well,
then don't close them all out at the same time.
I think what I was referring to is never, never, ever, ever close an account unless you know what you're doing,
Okay.
because that can be very costly. It's 15% of your credit score, and if you close an account before you understand how it impacts your credit, it can be really costly and kick you out of the game again. So, as far as opening an account, you only need one. So, why have more accounts? Why have more credit cards? They are only lowering your credit score.
People do that because they look at it and say, I've got too much on this credit card. I better start another one.
Okay, you're in an,
In other words, I've reached my limit on one card.
there's something wrong with this thinking, because if you have too much on a card and you're opening up another card to put more debt on there,
You're headed for
you're
bankruptcy.
headed in a wrong direction, and you need to get a second job, get a home-based business, find some other way of increasing your income to pay that off, and stop putting more debt on there, because it's costing you a huge amount of dollars for that money. And when you become to realize just how much money is costing you, how much that credit is costing you, then you begin to realize that it's not worth it. It really isn't worth it.
Stay with the one card, but don't shut them all down at one time. And if you shut them down, don't close them, just pay them off, right?
Pay them off
Pay them off,
correctly.
but don't close them.
Yeah, let's give an example why. Let's say that you have a credit card with 10 years of really good payment history on it, and you don't need it anymore because you've listened to this program, and you've got one national bank card that you're going to be utilizing, and using that one from now on. Okay, it's got a really good high credit limit on it.
Okay.
You're keeping the balance really low, but you've got this other card, and you say, well, I don't need it anymore. But it's got 10 years of credit history, and the new one that you've got, which is the National Bank credit card, only has a couple months of credit history on it. Closing the 10-year credit history card, the credit card that has 10 years of credit history on it, will be very, very damaging to you. Now, let me ask the simple question: how
Just
long does it take to replace 10 years of credit history?
10 years.
10 years. And so
And
until
you
this,
said somewhere it takes 4 years for a credit card to mature.
just to mature, that's correct. So until this other credit card, this National Bank credit card, is at least 4 years old, you're still, I would hang on to this other card until you've got 10 years of credit history on the other one. And both of them are going to be a benefit to you, because now the other one has 20 years of credit history.
Was there ever a time that we didn't need credit cards? I can't remember a time we didn't have credit cards. It must have been Stone Age. Not quite there, but we have abused them.
We
I do know
definitely
that.
have.
We have abused our credit cards, and that's for sure. Um, let's see, what other services does your company provide? We should know about that.
Well, we've got four main services that we do provide. One of them is credit repair by attorneys, and of course, there are six additional services that help to increase your credit limits or increase your credit scores that are provided free of charge for that membership. And then we've also got debt settlement. Now, of course, this is different than the typical settlement companies that you hear about on TV and in the newspaper and in your email. Okay, this is done by attorneys, and it's also um, amazingly different, because we will actually settle the accounts at 50% on the dollar on average. But then also, I should say 50% maximum. We actually can go lower than that. But we also remove the negative off the credit report at the same time. And that is
That is so
where
good.
it's entirely different from anything else that you've ever seen out there. Because now you have 7 years of bad credit history totally wiped clean because of that one account.
Okay, and I've experienced, that's what I said when, about talking to your people,
Hmm.
about they just took over all the phone calls, all the letters, all that foolishness. that was driving me crazy. And they made it very simple. And they said, we're just going to pay it off, and we're going to wind up saving you $7,000 to $8,000 off of your total. And I said, you're paying it all off, and you make money a little bit at this, and yes, and besides that, we're going to save you $8,000 off your total debt. I'm not sure how that worked, but I went, that works for me. So that's great. All right, you got through three of your services. I think you're going to go for the fourth one.
Well, our third service, and we have mentioned it before, was the credit education, and let's do a benefit to your audience today. If you will give us a call and just leave a message or talk with the receptionist there, and just leave your name and your email address with us, we will send you a free copy of the top 10 credit secrets that we do give out, and that way you can read for it yourself and be able to see it, and then you can ask questions. You can get some free consultation with us. Of course, we do a free credit analysis where we will pull your credit report, go through line by line, find out all of the things that are going on in your credit, and give you an answer on how this can be settled as quickly as possible at your convenience.
Again, I'm going to mention I was a little nervous, if that's the right word, concerned about spilling all of my information out. I think it might have been easier if I hadn't known you, but you quickly put me at ease about that, and I appreciated that. But it is something that people aren't, it's not something they're proud of when they walk in and say, I've just got a mess here and I don't know how to unwrap it, and I'm in debt, and I've lost my job, and or maybe I have too many jobs, or whatever it is to function. And what you almost become, you really are a consultant at many levels, I would think. So talk about your experiences with people with that.
Well, thank you, Pat. I appreciate that. We'd like to be considered as consultants, at least getting enough information to be able to make a wise decision. An informed decision is really critical, because if you don't get enough information, you may be charging off the wrong way, and it's not benefiting you, it's costing you. And it can cost you not only in money but in time, and time is very valuable for each of us as well. Where
Absolutely.
we can help out, and I mean, we have thousands and thousands of clients who have come to us, and we do keep confidential all of their personal information. And you need to understand that we recognize the fact that this wasn't all your fault. I mean, you
Hmm,
may have made mistakes, but the whole system is designed to help you make those mistakes
I
and
know.
to
When you told me that, that just,
and to take the money away from you as quickly as possible. Where we turn it around, we get you back in the game, we help you save that money. And saving the cost of credit repair two, three, four times each year after we have gotten you credit repair is huge for you. That can save huge amounts of money and help you pay off debts faster, and just be a benefit to you all the way around.
grateful for you. Grateful for you. Let's give the name of your company and your phone number again.
Vantage Credit Alliance, credit repair by attorneys, and our phone number is 801 769 9443.
Great. Say it again. Whole thing.
Vantage Credit Alliance, credit repair by attorneys. The number is 801 769 9443.
Great. Thank you. I did have a question. We've talked a little bit before about this. There are two things. Shop smart with no inquiries, whatever that means. And then I really have learned from you that I should not ever call a finance company, and no one should. And I just had a neighbor tell me they're working with a finance company, and I remember thinking when he said this, how much is this going to cost you before you get resolved what you think you're going to get resolved? And then I want to save us enough time to talk about a home-based business. I mean, I'm involved in a home-based business, and it's working for my health and my bank account, which I'm very happy about. And you've got something in mind that I've gotten involved with also. So we've got enough time to cover all of that
Okay, great.
if I don't say too much.
Well,
I'm
first of all,
trying not to tell my life story again today. Okay.
well, you asked about shopping smart without any inquiries. You can only have two inquiries per year for 2 years, uh, where it doesn't affect your credit score very much. And we're talking about just maybe a point or two. But recognize that every point counts. And a lot of people will go out there and they're in a desperate situation and they want to buy a car or they want to get a credit card, and they will go out and apply for a credit card from this company and they get denied. So they apply to this company and they get denied, and this company and they get denied, and this company and this company and this company. And now you've got 8, 10 inquiries on your credit report in the last couple of days, and you still don't have a credit card. But if you would watch your credit scores, each time you did this, you would see them lower and lower and lower and lower. And then gradually they would increase the amount that they're being lowered, because every inquiry does impact your credit score. And
Hmm.
it's they
Even when you're trying to get a lease on a car or anything like that, it just automatically lowers it when you don't get it.
absolutely, because you are a higher risk the more times you apply for credit. And this is the formula that they use and the credit bureaus use in formulating the
But
credit
nothing
score.
maybe has changed at all in a person's bank account.
Other than the fact that you are applying for credit more and more and more, and which means that you are more desperate, which means that you are higher risk, which means that you should have a lower credit score in their eyes.
What if you leave it alone for 6 months?
Then it's however many inquiries you have on there, just 6 months older.
They don't go away.
They actually
Can
do
I
go
push a
away.
button and say, delete, delete?
They actually go away in 2 years, and they will actually diminish by 24th every month that it gets older. So they do go away. But the problem is that if you've got a whole bunch of inquiries in the last couple days or the 6 months, they stay on there for 2 years,
What
and
if it's
your
from
credit
the
scores are lowered.
same company and they look at they pull the program a couple of times?
Okay. Um, the credit bureaus have actually taken that into account, and they've created a new scoring module that will account for that. And you can have actually up to about 8 inquiries of the same type in, I think it's about 14-day period, that will only count as one. There's a couple
Okay.
problems with that, though, Pat. That's the new scoring
I knew
module.
that. How did I know that? I knew he was going to tell me there's another problem with that.
There's some gotchas, absolutely.
I don't know how anybody gets anything, how they purchase a home or how they get a car, because they're shopping. They're shopping to find a place that will give them the best interest, the best
Mhm.
deal. But each time they're lowering their credit score.
That's true, to the point where you're out of the game, and then you cannot get whatever you tried to get, even if you went back to the original one where you had good credit score at the beginning, because they'll have to pull it again, and boom, you're done. You're out of there. So the rule of thumb is
That makes me fighting mad.
okay. Well, the rule of thumb is shop for credit the way we teach you to shop for credit, and you will only have one inquiry on your credit report when you actually um, apply for that loan and get that loan. So here's how we
So
do
you
it.
counsel them first.
Okay,
That's what you're
absolutely.
saying. Do it. Come get some advice. All right, go. Okay.
Okay, so recognize that um, when you shop for credit, what we advise you to do is to go to a website called myfico.com. That's MYFICO, and pull your credit score and report from them. It will cost you. I think the cost is $19.95, but you can get an online coupon to reduce that by 20 to 30%, something like that.
Okay.
And so save yourself a couple of dollars, just get the coupon code and enter it in. But you will be able to pull your credit score. Now that's $19.95 for each credit bureau. They will only provide 2 of them, so get both of those credit reports. Print them out, take them shopping with you. And when you go to an auto dealer, you say, what can you get me for this credit score and report? You cannot and will not pull my credit until I choose you
Okay.
as my auto dealer.
Okay.
But this way they can take that information, plug it into their system, and find out what you can afford to pay and at that credit score. Now they haven't pulled your credit report, but they do have your information. And you pulling your credit report doesn't cost you an inquiry. So now you've been able to get your information, which is legitimate. This is real credit score, not the FACO ones that you get everywhere else. But you can go and shop for this. You can go shop for this at 30 different auto dealers if you wanted to, or 30 different mortgage lenders if you wanted to. And it doesn't hurt because they're not pulling your credit report. Now, you find someone that you're comfortable with, they got the auto that you want, and the rates and terms that they are going to give you are really good.
Okay.
At that point, then you say, okay, now you can pull my credit score and let's run with it. And the score that they pull will be the score that's on your credit report. At the worst case scenario, it might be a point or 2 difference.
Sounds really good.
But now you've shopped
First
for
thing you
credit.
told me that sounds really good.
Well, Pat, the worst credit score drop that I've seen was 137 points because of inquiries on a credit report.
That's terrible.
It's absolutely
That
incredibly
takes you
terrible.
totally out of the game. I don't care who you are.
They wanted to buy a home, they were approved for a home, and then they shopped for rates and terms and lost out on having that home because of inquiries. That it was disastrous, and it can happen over and over and over.
Okay, we're offering a couple of free things to our radio audience on KHQN 1480 AM and also at pat.utahvalleylive.com on the internet. Free counseling
Yes,
anytime.
anytime, sure.
Anytime. Okay, let's
If
give your phone number and it's free.
sure,
An
and if
hour, 2 hours, whatever it takes.
absolutely.
A
Uh,
week? Probably not.
if they need it, we can actually do that. You bet.
Okay.
The phone number is 801 769 9443. And of course, we'd also like to offer a free top 10 credit tips and strategies. Just give us your email address. We can send it right out, and you have access to that.
And
can
that's pretty
read up.
much what we're talking about.
Yes, it is.
Right. And so that they will have that in front of them and go follow this recipe before you tank yourself with your
And it
shopping.
probably easier to understand on the phone.
It might be.
Reading it than what we're describing it now. But we're giving a lot more detail and a lot more example here.
The other thing we're giving away today to our radio audience and our internet audience, I am giving away a bottle of Kyani Sunrise, which is the large
Oh.
bottle. It's 30 ounces. It is Alaskan blueberry. A wonderful, wonderful taste to it. It has other super fruits, minerals, and vitamins. So if you will call 801 362 9552, 801 362 9552, I'll leave your name and your phone number. First one calling in gets it. And this product sells for, by the time I pay shipping and receiving on it, it's about $45. So we're just tickled to have you win today. What are you dialing in? You don't get it. I'm not giving it to you free. I'll charge you double. No, that's a thought, though. Have your wife call in. No, that's great. So Kyani has changed my life. So has credit. Getting my credit straightened out has changed my life. I've really had fun inviting people on the air that I like, that I'm learning about the things that are going on in their lives, and it has been very beneficial in lots of ways. We have just about enough time to hit on the differences in the finance companies or not. Why not to use a finance company ever, ever, ever? And then I want to go to this home-based business that you're doing.
Oh, thank you very much. Well, the simple truth of the finance company is it's very, very poor credit to get, and so therefore it means that you're a higher risk. And even though it's easier to get, the interest rates are going to be higher, the qualifications are going to be lower, but that causes your credit scores to drop significantly. And so, what we recommend is to not ever use a finance company, but instead get the better credit. And it will take some time. It will take having a higher credit score to be able to do that, but it's well worth it.
Why would anybody go to a finance company? Because they don't know?
Typically they won't know. Um, let's take, for example, Wells Fargo has Wells Fargo Bank, and then they also have Wells Fargo Finance, which they could be right across the street from each other or even next door.
But they sound like, with the finance, it sounds like that's somebody I could talk to. I could tell them,
Absolutely, you bet.
and they could save me money.
Uh-huh. Come on in.
Wrong.
Have we got a rate for you?
I'd be walking in the door. That's terrible.
And many people have, thinking that they're at Wells Fargo Bank. And the difference, of course, then is uh, how easy to apply for the loan, how easy to pay for the higher interest rate that you're going to get, because you think you're going to get a really good interest rate, and you're not. It's going to be much lower or much higher, and which is going to be a higher cost for you.
It's a lose.
It really is. It not only is it a lose in the money that you're spending, but it's also a lose in the credit score that you're spending, because you're going to have lower credit scores because of it.
I just think it's so misleading. I don't think it's honest to do that. Vantage Credit Alliance, Lawrence Law is the CEO of this company. It's credit repair by attorneys. The phone number is 801 769 9443. 769 9443. Let's talk a little bit about your home business that you introduced me to, that is not in conflict with this, but rather going to enhance the Kyani products, because I have a new arm for marketing and
Absolutely.
advertising. So if you can do that in the next 12 or 13 minutes, we're ahead.
All right. Well, we're really excited about this because it became such a need for our clients who were struggling with debt. They were struggling with paying their bills on time, and of course, that causes the bad credit. The number one cause of bad credit is bad cash flow. And of course, if you can raise the cash flow, then you can pay your bills on time and you have some extra. You can put it into savings. You can go on vacation without putting it on a credit card. There's a huge number of reasons why having that extra income is very, very beneficial. And of course, our clients came to us for years and years and years. We didn't have any source of additional income for our clients to be able to use. But time after time, they would ask, well, do you know of any way that we can increase our income? And so we started doing the research, and we went out and researched the multi-level marketing companies. We researched the home-based businesses, the internet businesses that you can get, the eBays and all that kind of thing. And we discovered that there are a lot of scams out there. There are a lot of people who are taking your money, and or they're even replicating the kind of business that they're selling you. In other words, you would pay for the business that they're selling, but you sell that business as the sale.
Oh,
And
you may,
that just
okay.
it just
You do what they're
perpetuates
doing. Yeah,
the
okay.
same thing, and you're really not starting a home-based business. You're reselling the same thing that they're selling. But anyway, there's lots of different things out there, and the cost of them is high. The failure rate is extremely high. When you're talking 97% failure rate, I mean, that's just disastrous. And when you look at yourself and you figure out 97 out of 100 people are going to fail at their attempt to make extra money, which means that they're going to be spending more money than they make, and all the effort and the time and uh, the money that they put into it doesn't come up with any benefit to them.
So the
So
first thing in a home-based business, then, as I'm listening to you, is you need to really understand what's behind the product, who the people are, or behind the service, who the people are, and if they're really solid, if they have the money and have been successful in their own business before starting this business, whatever it might be. And much of what we are doing in the valley, in particular, is we have a lot of people in home-based businesses, and some don't make it because they look up one day and their residual incomes don't come because the company fell in on itself. either couldn't keep up with their growth, just simply didn't have the money. And so I was very interested when you first told me about this. That was one of my first questions. Can these people afford to do this? And so I found it interesting from that standpoint. But you're right, the ratio of fallout. A lot of times people don't realize they're going to have to work really hard. And most network marketing companies or products or services require a great deal of work. I mean, it's an 8-hour job. And if you do less than that, then you're not going to be very successful in it. It takes a lot of work. One of the things you said to me is you don't have to do anything. And you can get this involved, get your products involved in a larger arena worldwide for advertising.
Mhm.
And that was intriguing.
Well, this company is designed for the 97% who have actually tried a home-based business and failed at it, or did not make the kind of return that they really expected that they were going to return. And it's also a training ground for a legitimate home-based business. There's a lot of good quality home-based
There are.
businesses out there. But you have to make sure that you understand what they're selling, whether you're interested in selling or not, whether you're interested in being able to and have the skills to be able to network and work with people and have the time to be able to put into it. So this company that we're talking about is called the II Life. And the II Life has a whole complete philosophy that we're going to help the person who tried and failed. And if we help them have the successes, make enough money so that they can go out and recognize that they've had a success, then maybe they can get into another network marketing company, home-based business, internet business, apply the same principles in a way that will work for them, then they're going to be successful at anything that they do. And
True.
so here's the foundation of that whole program. Number one, it's very low cost. In
Very
typical,
low cost. You're risking a couple of movies.
well, and here's the fun thing, Pat, there is no risk.
Well, I mean,
and
if
and
you
how
thought you are, there is no risk because you're guaranteed.
Right. The cost is $25 a month for a subscription. And because this is subscription based, then we have a revenue sharing program so that everybody gets a benefit of it and you can actually make more money than you spend. But every 2 months of your subscription, you get back a $50 US savings bond. So there's a net zero here, your risk is zero, and you can work at this program without any fear that you're going to lose money. That's the wonderful part of
That is
this.
the wonderful part. I did something right.
Okay, now the next part that's absolutely amazing is the fact that the company will go out and do marketing and advertising for you and actually build your business to $152 without you lifting a finger. That's incredible.
That is incredible because I have yet to put this in the system, but I'm ready to.
Okay.
I'm ready to put the products in the system.
Now, what you're talking about is the advertising
Right.
in of your
Of my
Kayani
Kyani. Right.
into the structure of the II book.
So because I'm a subscriber
Hmm.
at $25 a month, and I get a bond every 2 months for $50, or
Every 2 months.
every 2 months for
Uh-huh.
$50,
Right.
and then I have the ability to advertise my product.
You can. There is a fee for that advertising, but what you're talking about is having a captured audience of people who are home-based business people. They're entrepreneurs. They want to go out and have another stream of income. Because if you can have multiple streams of income, that's a whole lot better than having one that in this economy, in this world, who knows that one might.
Paul Allen figured that out some time ago when he started myfamily.com.
Mhm.
He has multiple streams of income, and he has from the very beginning. And it's made a huge difference in his income.
Well, if you look at any of the wealthy people in the world, they all have multiple streams of income. It's just a basic fundamental practice of entrepreneurs. This is what they do. And if you're interested in having security in your life, having multiple streams of income is just a secure way to go.
It's a good idea. I like it.
Okay.
Okay, now how can I get this? What does it cost me? Do we know what it costs to get these on and into the marketing system, into the advertising system?
Well, like any marketing or advertising, there's multiple different rates. So you
Okay.
need to go into the back office and read what that is.
I think that might be time for me to do that.
Absolutely.
Okay.
I agree.
So go in the back office because I do have a captured audience of people who are entrepreneurs who are looking to see what else is out there.
Absolutely. Now, the advertising that the company does for you, which is totally separate from this, the company does their advertising, and we've actually partnered up with a billionaire advertising agency that has recognized the II Life as an incredible opportunity for them. And so they are putting all of their assets into helping out and committing $1 million worth of advertising around the world to advertise this particular product and program because it just makes sense.
So he's advertising the II Life.
Yes, he is.
Okay, and that is the big service or product right now that they're going to handle and send everywhere. And I'm part of that pool.
You are,
Okay.
because anybody who is in a subscriber in the II Life is getting benefit from this advertising. Now, that's only half of the equation. The other half is the social media marketing that we're doing on a huge scale, where we can put in videos onto YouTube and have 1 million people looking at that with our advertisement on it, and getting the traffic that is huge, which is the advertising that you're going to be placing
Right,
in,
right.
that they're going to be able to see your advertisement on the website, and they're going to see all of this in by the millions.
So I will have new leads.
Yeah,
There's people to
absolutely.
talk to. Plus, my little $25 a month is doing its thing. And what can I make by the end of the year? Maybe, maybe.
Well, the potential is for one subscription to make up to $25,000 a month.
I'm going to write that down. Would you sign here, please? That would work for an awful lot of people.
Well, it's really interesting because you're not alone in this business. In a typical home-based business, you're the chief cook and bottle washer, right? You're the CEO, you're the delivery guy, you're the postman, you're everything. And yet, with in the II Life, everybody is working together. It's a team effort. You're not in it alone. Um, when the company does the $1 million worth of marketing and advertising, when people sign up and subscribe through their websites, they are actually placed into the people who are down below and benefiting them as a team effort. And so this becomes something where you're in this program, you're helping me. I'm in this program, I'm helping you. Other people get into the program, we're also
Work
helping them
together.
and they're helping us. It's a team effort.
And now the thing I like about the Kyani program and this II program, is because we all work together.
Yeah.
No, I've been in so many companies where they've just said, "Here, sign here," and I never see them again
Or hear from them.
or hear from them. And I feel like it's insurance. They sign you up and you never hear from them again. And so
Right.
I love the fact that we're working together, bringing people in, helping them. If I have a question, I've got a place to go. If somebody asks me a question, I don't know what it is, then I have somewhere to go. And with all the technology we have now,
Oh.
everybody's in the same room. I mean, you're doing webinars. You have webinars coming up that we can watch, anything we can see, or videos that are online. Where do we go?
We go to theiilife.com, and there we have a link to find out when the next webinars are happening and when the next conference calls are available. And absolutely come and enjoy them. You'll gain a lot of information. We keep them short, 20 minutes or less,
Good.
and that way that we're not spending a lot of your time. Again, we understand how important time is.
Lawrence Law, thank you for being with us today. We appreciate the information that you have given us. We're grateful to Kent Borkink for the Utah Valley Live.com channel that he owns. I'm Pat Sheranian. I'm on pat.utahvalleylive.com. Thank you so much for being with us today. Have a great day. I hope you're safe and happy. We'll see you tomorrow.